This is Ken Pyle with VOD TV at the Broadband Community's 2013 Summit. We're with Michael Keeling of the law firm of Keeling Law Offices, and you're in Arizona,
Yes.
And you've been advocating, well, first off, you advocated for a bill that was passed last year that had to do with kind of easing the rights of way, or you eased the process. Why don't you talk about that?
You bet. Very glad to do that. That was Senate Bill 1402, which was passed by the Arizona legislature and signed by the governor last year in 2012. And basically what it did was to go a long way toward solving a bigger problem of the middle mile availability by reducing the cost of new middle mile infrastructure. And how it did that without dollars from the general fund for the state was to utilize existing rights-of-way along the roadways. So the citizens of Arizona had paid for those rights-of-way previously, but they had been restricted. And that restriction did not allow them to be used for broadband purposes. And so what 1402 did was to redefine roadways in Arizona to include, very simply, the transport of information. So no longer is a roadway just an asphalt path for vehicles, but it also is a pathway for information. And that would be expressed by conduits and fiber, for example, longitudinally along the road, as well as for cell towers, vertical rights of way, if you will, along that same roadway as well.
So does this make it easier for the private providers to perhaps use those rights away, or is it only for public providers?
Actually, it's private providers, and Arizona, as most state constitution, has a gift clause that says you can't just willy-nilly give away state property to private providers, and since the broadband providers are private, they're not public generally, except in communities generally. And so, yes, there was an issue there. And so in the bill, it defines that the cost that the transfer would be made from the state to the private providers, and incidentally, the private providers have to be either approved by the FCC or the state equivalent of the FCC, which is the Arizona Corporation Commission rules on it. So it's just, it can't be just anybody who gets that right away. You have to be really in the business of providing broadband on it. But if you're in that business, then and you pay the state exactly what the state paid for that right of way to start with, and state roads have been in creation over the last 101 years. So actually, many of those costs the state has incurred are very low compared to current market value. That's important because we wanted to take the cost out of the equation to be able to for the private providers to get an ROI that would convince them to build out more infrastructure. So that was the intent of the bill.
Now, is there anything in the bill that encourages kind of the shared use of the right of way, so you don't have to dig up 4 or 5 times?
Very good. That's yes. And now the Arizona Department of Transportation, ADOT, is concerned about roadway safety, and so they would like to have a dig once instead of a dig many times, because it does affect roadway safety. And so in the bill, there's an encouragement to put in duct banks, multiple ducts for multiple fiber with one digging, but it also allows for multiple providers to utilize that set of ducts, such that you do get competition as you're building these middle mile structures out into the rural portions of the state.
Now, now it's been passed. Have you seen some impact from providers coming in and building places they hadn't before?
Yes, the first project that's now in the permit phase is along Arizona Route 93, which is the route from Phoenix, Arizona to Las Vegas, and so we have a provider that's committed to that route, utilizing 1402 rights of way, and there are others that are in discussion, but that's the one that's progressed the furthest into the permit stage.
That's great. So you're already actually seeing some tangible things from it. Thank you very much.
Yes.